Hey everybody, this is Easy Mode, and we just got Pagan Online released today, August 27th. So I want to review the Anya build I created about a few weeks ago regarding her skill set, because in that time I got to play her a lot more. As you can see, I have a full set of the spell magic gear, and I've been working a lot on her to get her to an optimal place where I feel very comfortable playing her. Today's build though, we're going to discuss two builds. The first build is the build I'm going to be running on the actual release server. You'll notice on her skill tree, her passive has now become a passive point within the tree that you can upgrade. And this is going to be extremely powerful on her because if you'll notice, every time you increase a blood right now, it's going to increase the amount of percentage heal you get, as well as the amount of resources you gain. So her resources, which corrupt blood, which then I'll be calling mana from now on, is what you use to get your mana back when you are using her skills. And the way I'm going to be building her is utilizing this feature of Blood Right. Upgrading it to each blood fragment has a chance to reduce 33% cooldowns from abilities for 1 second, and on the way there you'll get a bonus damage to get this. You'll notice right off of her passive, she's getting her HP back as well as her resources with a 3% damage bonus per blood fragment you get, and that gets up to 10 stacks. So you're doing an extra 30% damage, and you also are reducing your chance of cooldowns. This is an extremely powerful passive here, because if you combine it with her Fable power, which every kill you do lowers your cooldowns by 1 second, you will be blasting out a bunch of spells and you won't know what to do with your mana because you will probably be a lot of the times. And the way I'm going to go about building her is very similar to my last build. I'm going to focus on the Bat Swarm, and I'm going to get these 2 points here. You're going to get these point over here for Vortex, as I explained in the first video, is because you want them to suck into that Vortex. It's one of your way of crowd controlling the enemies within this game with Anya. She's more of a kiter. You can build her a little bit tankier, which I'm starting to head in that direction. And this allows you to kind of move around the map and move around these small spaces you have to fight. Up here with the Swarm Spawn of Darkness, you really are getting it for the slow and the duration, but 1 extra point to get a level 1 Bloodsucker to fly towards an enemy is super helpful, because if you are low on health and the Bloodsucker comes out, you instantly will be able to get your health back up with that Bloodsucker, because it is going to do Life Leech on that mob. Then over here, we're going to go into Blood Bolt, and I am going to max everything out in Blood Bolt here, because Blood Bolt is your main DPS tool. On my previous video, I didn't go up here to where it says Piercer. I didn't really understand the mechanic of Blood Bolt that much, where if it passed through an enemy, it creates a blood fragment not blowing up, which also roots them. So this actually clears our problem with controlling enemies with Anya. I believe someone on my YouTube comments mentioned this, and I did want to reply back, but I wanted to make sure that I get this video out, because I already knew that going in with his reply, that this is the way you needed to go. And I've been using this tree up here for quite a bit of time now, possibly 2 weeks now. And I wanted to keep the cold damage a Blood Shield, because I am using a weapon that gives me a tremendous amount of cold damage. The last set I'm going to do here, and you'll also notice in the bottom, I forgot to mention, the Blood Bolts gain 3 charges. This is the reason why it's your main DPS skill, because you're going to be doing a tremendous amount of damage. The last skill I'm going to get is going to be part of my legendary weapon, is these Blood Spikes. You'll notice I can get these up to 8 because my legendary weapon gives me a +5 to them, and I'm just going to go here for Cold Blood, just so I can impale more enemies and do cold damage on the ground. Another area effect where it can control space. This last area, or these last talent points, really are subjectional. Depending on your weapon, or depending on how you want to build it, you can always go to Altar of Gore, just like in my previous video. Get the long duration with the explosion at the end, so you can keep control of one enemy. Really good for those bosses at the end of a map. Or you can go down here to Heart. I believe pick up this one here that allows you to cast 3 hearts, so you're able to blow up an enemy. Or you can go Bloodsucker here and come over here where it does double damage within Bleed. Any way you want to go about it, that will be a solid build. So as you can see, this is where I'm going to be playing as, and now we're going to go into her stats. So you'll notice I have a bunch of legendary gear. It's great to have, specifically this weapon here. The Fable power is super strong on Anya, because you're able to slay shorten your ability cooldowns on top of your passive. This is what's going to be making you spam spells. And with the ability to gain your resources back with Blood Fragment, you won't have to worry so much about your resources. You'll notice I'm also part of the original bonus here of Heritage of Darkness. I found the Heritage of Darkness School of Magic to be very good looking on her. Didn't care too much about the percentage. I know folks are focusing on Gift of Siraj as well as the Titan Forge items. You can learn a little bit more about that on another video I'll be creating soon regarding Spell School of Magic. However, I'm still focusing on the same stats on my previous video. Those stats are going to be Fizz damage, int, and spell damage. Int and spell damage is how she scales. She's an int hero and she scales off of spell damage. However, physical damage can scale better if you get it both on a piece of gear. For instance, this flawless ward here, or I have an epic ward, excuse me. This has both fizz damage rolls and a spell damage roll. If I found one with int and higher spell damage on it with only one fizz damage, this ward still gives me better DPS than it would with that other ward. So it's a very complicated balance here when you need to figure out which one's going to give you the best ability. One way for you to check to see if you're going to be getting increased DPS or not, it's right here in the stat page. The stat page is going to allow you to see your fluctuation of spell damage. This DPS meter down here only is focusing on your left click mouse button right now, I guess your main attack, and it's not focusing on the spell damage you will be conducting. When you join a map, if you hit the same stat detail page here, your damage per second will skyrocket. It is not going to be 24.17. It's just that for some reason in the Pantheon, it doesn't calculate your spell damage. So you have to kind of work either within the level or you have to work with what you know of the stats to see what will increase your damage and what will not increase your damage. On my previous video, I did mention to you that Astro Shield was the way to go with Anya. I'm still on the fence about that. I was full in on Astral Shield. However, I've started to play around with armor, and the fact that her passive is now going to heal you for 1.5% of your total HP, I may start straying towards health points. I may want to go find myself a health point ward. I may want to remove this Astral Shield unique legendary I have, excuse me, and go for one for armor. I did find that having some armor on you is beneficial, even though there are some times when a monster can still one-shot you because they spawn right on top of you and they attack you. Overall, you do want to get as much of the combined spell damage as you can. The fifth stat I would focus on, if any stat you are looking for, would be cold damage. That's the offensive stat. That's probably the fifth offensive stat I would focus on with her, because there are moves of her that you can utilize the cold damage, and there is, again, this legendary weapon that gives you a tremendous amount of cold damage, and it is helpful to have when you're going through. I'm still working on my gear. As you can see, I have no resists. I have 75 poison resist, which is great. And that's probably going to be coming from my 3 defensive items down here. And I still need to upgrade these necklaces to legendaries, but I feel very comfortable with how Anya is right now. And I do want to show you a little bit of her gameplay. Well guys, thanks for watching the video. I hope you learned some things about Anya. I did want to give a shout out to a specific Pagan player, another Anya enthusiast by the name of Nexxian. He is building Anya a little bit differently, and I figured I might as well share it with you guys because it is a build I want to try sooner or later on my Anya. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to respec what I have here on my points, and I'm going to show you what he's going to build her as. What he does, he only takes 1 point into the passive, and he goes up here to transfusion to get that reduction cooldown. He only puts 1 point to bats, and then he gets vortex and the cooldown duration, or the slow duration increase to the max. Then he goes ahead and gets blood bolt. He maxes it out. He gets the root of it as well as the 3 charges. He does not get the explosion of the blood bolts because from the looks of it, and it has sound theory behind it, he wants to pick up as many blood fragments as possible with this cooldown reduction. And the reason why is because he wants to pump out his hearts. He is all in on the heart. He's putting everything inside the heart, and I really want to know how this works out, because if it does work really well and it is a very good build, I'm going to try it myself because the heart is a great boss killing move. I used it personally sometimes when I was farming Tidemaster, try to get my artifact pre-release, and it allows you to basically two-shot him at times if you do it right. And it's a great tool to use, and I want to see how well this heart works with gaining your resources back from this passive as well as these blood bolts to root, folks. So this is a build I'm going to try, and again, thanks to Nexxian. He is on the Discord of a Pagan. If you ever want to ask him any questions, I'm sure you can add him there and he'll be able to answer any questions you want. But he did show it to me, and I'm really impressed by it because I had an idea of what his build was. I was like, well, I'm going to be doing some of my own builds here, and he did just want to show me because he was super excited about the passive here. Again, guys, thanks for watching the video. If you do like what you see, make sure you hit the subscribe button on YouTube, thumbs up it, leave a comment. I'll try to respond back to you as much as possible. I'm trying to get better at this YouTube thing as well. I primarily do streaming. I stream Monday through Friday, 8:30 p.m. through 11:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I also stream on the weekends, 8 hours depending on when I want to stream, sometimes in the morning, sometimes in the afternoon. All you have to do is look at my calendar on my stream to figure out when I'll be streaming on those dates. And again, yeah, hit like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys back in the Pantheon with the release of Pagan Online. Woohoo!